everybody, welcome to Big E's Auto YouTube channel. I'm Big E. So today's a special day. Well, it's, as the time I'm recording this, it's Saturday. And with all the stuff that I found wrong with the motor today from my fabricator, it is pizza and beer Saturday. Alright, so what can I say? Cheers, bitches. Alright. So I didn't make this video, it's just for you to watch me eat pizza and drink beer and just totally inebriate myself. I'm going to bring you guys up to date, I should say, what we found and what direction we're thinking of taking with the motor. The next step into crossing over from like a street type motor to a more race appropriate setup. And the reason why, and I'm going to show you, if you have a lot of your late model stuff runs hydraulic roller lifters, in that they're hydraulic, and then obviously they have, the rollers on the bottom side, and they have flats. I'm trying to show here, I'm having a hard time with it. They have flats here, okay? As you can, yeah, right there's the flat. So what that flat does, that flat locks into this on the LT1. It locks into here. All right. So let me get it where it locks in. Okay. So basically, it locks in like that. So the lifters theoretically cannot turn, because unlike a flat hydraulic lifter that is made to turn, these can't, because obviously if it goes this way, it's going to scrape up the lobe on the cam. It has to stay this way so it can run up and down the ramp on the cam. It goes this way, obviously you see the problem. So that's why for those there. But I don't know if you can see, I'm going to try and show it here. If you look at that ball, look at the sides of it. Look how galled up and pitted that is. Can you guys see that? You probably will definitely be able to see this one. This one's really bad. I'll head it on this side. You can see right there where it's all galled up. Okay. No good. Okay, these are basically garbage. Okay, use them as paperweights. Paint them a flesh color and use them as something to fuck yourself in the ass with. Whatever you want to do, it's not my fucking business. But that's all. They're no good. They're junk. The cam, I'm going to show you here. Right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's that wear mark there. There's a really bad one right here. I don't know if you can see where my finger is. Okay. To the point where it's actually pitted. Okay. That's junk. That cam is shot somehow. I don't know how, but maybe when the cam moved forward, whatever, they turned and they somehow messed up the finish that's on there. Cheers. By the way, we were thinking of getting them polished. Thinking I would polish out. The more that Tom and I talked about it, the more we realized that this cam would be suspect at that point. It could go 2 passes, it could go 10 years, it could break then. If it goes 2 passes and we just went ahead and did all this work, how much would it take? How much would it wipe out when it broke? So, brings us to our quandary now is, do we stay with the setup we have, which is a Cam's XFI 292H grind cam with hydraulic roller lifters, okay, or what Tom is suggesting, because we're shifting this thing at 7,000 RPMs, and that's kind of going to be where we're going to be at with this motor. Strokers, for whatever reason, like a little more RPM. So he's thinking going with a mechanical solid lifter, solid solid roller lifter, okay, with a solid roller cam, which therefore you can run 7 grand, whatever, and it doesn't matter. The only difference between a hydraulic and a mechanical is with a mechanical lifter, you have the valve lash, which you're gonna set. I believe he said 30 thousandths he likes, but don't quote me. He might change that. I don't know yet. Where with the setting up the hydraulic roller lifter, we all know you go through the firing order, you spin the push rod, and you keep tightening that nut on your rocker arm until you can't spin it, and then you go another half turn, okay? Because what ends up happening is it's a zero lash on a hydraulic, because the lifter is designed to have like a hydraulic cushion inside. So that's kind of like makes up for your gap that you would have on a solid between the valve and the rocker arm tip. Okay, so that's built into the lifter. So that pumping action of the hydraulic lifter acts like the air gap on a solid. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying. I should have drew pictures, but in other words, it moves from, if you remember back in the day, they used to have the solid flat tappet lifter. Okay, so basically, guys would every so often check what they call adjust the valves. So, like, let's just say for sake of argument, 30 thousandths. So you take your feeler gauge and you set it up for 30 thousandths, and you stick it between the rocker arm, where it touches the valve. Okay, you stick it between the rocker arm and the butt of the valve where it comes up from the spring. So you stick the feeler gauge and you rock that feeler gauge while you turn your nut tight. And when you feel that a little pressure, then you know you have it gapped. Okay, so that's how you would do mechanical lifters, solid lifters. Okay, mechanical, solid, it's interchangeable. Hydraulic, on the other hand, is totally different because of the fact that hydraulic lifters have oil in them. That oil acts like a cushion, if you will. So what ends up happening is instead now you adjust till you can't turn that push rod anymore, and then you go a half a turn. So what ends up happening is when you go that half a turn, that push rod pushes into the cup of the hydraulic lifter. So what happens is when those lifters, the oil in there, when it pumps up, that makes up for that gap of, let's say, 30 thousandths again. So do you follow what I'm saying? It's the same principle. There's still a valve lash. It's just on a hydraulic, it's taken care of by the hydraulic properties of oil and the way the lifter is designed, as opposed to using the feeler gauge with a saw. Anyway, I explained all that. I got long-winded for just to say we're going to be looking into, and we got to look at the cost value, because he ain't got deep pockets. That's why I got to drink, this shit, not expensive beer. Happy Saturday. So we're looking into the mechanical, or I should say solid roller cam with a solid roller lifter. Therefore, we would have to run a valve lash in a motor that we didn't have to with the hydraulic roller. Okay, but the advantage is we should have no problems running the high RPM, the 7,000 RPM that we're looking at running, the over 6,000 RPM power band that we're at. We should be able to run a solid and hopefully be more reliable. I'm not even sure what the perfect word would be, but I would say reliable, because you don't have that relying on the lifter to do that. And it's less moving parts because you don't have the plunger set up in a solid, in a solid lifter that you do in a hydraulic. So that's where we're at. So we're going to look into that this week. The bottom end looks great. I showed you in the last week's video. The bottom end's good. The oil pump's good. I'm thinking the reason that our oil pressure was varying was because the cam did move forward and the drive might have not been engaging correctly on the rear gear that's machined in the back of the cam. So that could have been causing the variable reading on the oil pressure gauge. So um, we're kind of at a standstill right now with the motor because of the fact that I don't know enough about solid roller setup to um, be knowledgeable enough to make a good choice of what we should run. So I handed it off to my fab guy, Tom. Uh, Runs super gas, runs solid stuff all the time. I mean, they run big dollar stuff and they all run solid. So I'm leaving it in his hands because some of this is being smart enough to know when you're too dumb to do something, and that's kind of what I'm doing. I don't know enough, so I'm handing it off to somebody who is knowledgeable. I'm going to let them handle it. He's going to pick out the cam and the roller, the solid roller lifters that are going to go with that cam, and then from there we're going to go from there and see how this thing is going to run. Um, and if we do that, I'm sure we'll probably pick up even more ET on this thing with the whole everything being solid and less moving parts that could potentially fail that you could have with a hydraulic roller lifter. But anyway, I wanted to show you the cam, and I wanted to show you the roller lifters in case you have a project where you're running a hydraulic roller lifter. And when you do your inspections, inspect that stuff, because that stuff could, if it looks like that, okay, it's junk. Okay, don't try to polish it out when it's that bad. Don't be cheap. At the same point, you don't want to blow a ton of money either, but the couple bucks you save by not doing something maybe 100% down the road could it end up blowing up and cost you even more. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm waiting to hear from Tom. Hopefully this week I can hear something about a cam lifter setup that's going to work for the old turd. In the meantime, I got some stuff coming up. Been kind of leaving the shithawk part, so I got some stuff coming up with that, and that's pretty much it for now. I just want to bring you guys up to date and show you how to inspect that stuff and tell if something's bad. So hopefully you're able to see that. I'm hoping the camera here picked that up to show you guys. So anyway, like and subscribe. Leave something in the comments. There's really not much I can do here in the trailer today, other than I might do some painting or whatever. But that's it. So, like and subscribe, comment. Do yourself a favor. Relax today. Oh, by the way, happy July 4th to everybody, Independence Day. Get yourself some good bacon pizza, if you will. Good stuff. Get yourself whatever your adult beverage of choice is to wash it down and enjoy. Okay? So watch out for each other. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time right here on Big E's Auto. Ciao for now.